now we're going to turn this into 2 front mud flaps. So what I want to do to start off with is find my tape measure. Have you guys ever had a point where you had 2 or 3 of the same thing lined up in a row? You grab one, you use it, and then you lose it. You get tired of looking for it, but then you go get the other one. By the end of the day, you've done lost them all and have to start looking again. I know people have done that, so don't even deny it. So we got 24 inches, and let's see, 24 inches to, yep, same thing. So we're going to do 24 inches, and we're going to put us a mark right here at 24 inches. Then we're going to go get a piece of tape and put on it, and that's going to be our guide. And I hope that's an even 24. Yeah, cool. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and cut that. Actually, I got a little off there. I can readjust here. Hopefully I didn't mess up my stick. Alright, so now we'll go ahead and cut that. Enjoy the music. Alright, so now we've got this here. What I want to try to do is take all this off, because this is just something I had stuck on there, just something I had, and it doesn't really look good. So I'm just going to take all these rivets back out, take this off, and I'm going to make this come all the way up to there. But I want this to overlap this, so I want this to be behind it, and I want this to be on top of it, and both of them line up to where I can bolt all 3 of them. So we're just basically making 2 panels for this side. The other side is going to be just, it'll just go up to here, however far we have this one. So this one's going to set the standard for that one over there. So, because this is going to be a little higher, we don't want it sticking way down there, but we're going to cut that off about right there and make these 2 pieces. Then we'll work on this piece, and then we'll shorten this one by about 1.5 inches, and then we'll shape this one and shape this one. We got to bend this one around a little bit to make it past that hole right there. So first thing we need to do is cut it off right there, right across them, in between them 2 ribs right there. So we'll cut that off and we'll be back. Alright, so now I've got the top piece made. Now I've got to shape it down. and do a little bow in it. I got to bow it a little bit to kind of match that contour. So, but we got to cut it down a little bit. So we're gonna cut that. Well, I think we're going to try to match this contour right here. So let me get a pencil. And that will go there just like that. And then we'll put a mark right here. Then we'll come down here. And we'll put a mark right here. Now that's going to be kind of off a little bit because we want to follow this. Because remember, we're going to bend this. So I got to go cut that off and then round the corners on the top. Because we're just going to have some rounded corners on the top. And the bottom will be square with the bottom of this. And it'll be drilled for all these holes. From here on out. So I'll cut that and I'll be back. Alright, so now we've got that piece cut and it follows that bend right there. Round it off on the tops, and that should have that piece. So now let's concentrate on the other piece. We're not going to drill them yet. Oh, it's already laying here. Alright, so now we want to come up a 1/2 inch, but I'm going to have to take these bolts out first. And then we're probably just going to round that off right there. Just because I can't get that bolt out, it's locked up and it's worthless, so we're not going to go that far anyway. So what we need to do now is put that right where we think it's going to be, at about 1 inch, and we got to bend this right here. So let's take and bend that right there. We're going to bend it right where in the middle of where all them meet. So this is going to be a little tricky. So we'll see how we're going to do this. We'll probably just take it over there and just ham it over a little bit. So let's try that. All right. So now we got that. Now we need to curve this too, just like we did this. So we just seen me do that, so I'll go do that and we'll be back. Alright guys, we got the bolts in that. So now I gotta find some more nuts. I hope I have some stragglers laying around. But we've got the front part done. We're gonna round this off right here. And then there'll be a bracket that we're gonna make that will go from that corner down there to that stud right there. So we're going to try to run something to this corner. So I'll get this done and then we'll show you the finished product. Alright guys, we're done. We got the rear mud flaps on. We got the front mud flaps on. And I just cut that out so that I can get to the pedal easier. And may do the same thing to the other side, but not sure yet. Now this side has all the information on it, so I didn't want to cover all that. The only reason I'd done that side like that is because it didn't have no covers or plates, and it had a crack in it right up and around here somewhere. So this will keep that from cracking anymore. And we may have to cut a little bit out here to allow for the pedal. So we might just do the same thing over there that we did over the other side, but we'll see. I need a new one of these. I need this whole thing right here, that connecting rod. If you look, it's pretty wore out. So I may have to come up with something, I don't know. We'll see. It needs to be adjustable. But anyway, I need to find me a turnbuckle. But there's the mud flaps for the Big Bear 400. And then I got to looking around thinking, what can I use these pieces for right here? And they're just laying there. But I thought that looked pretty damn cool right there. Just stick that on there with some two-sided sticky tape. That looked pretty damn cool. Maybe back here. But we can't do it here because this side we can't do the same thing. So who knows what the hell we can use that for. But I think that looks pretty cool right there, just like that. I got it on both sides. I might have to do that. I have to reshape it and get a little closer to it. But that looks actually pretty damn sharp. What do you think, guys? Hey, we got to use the scrap somewhere, right? But who knows? Maybe we can put it out here on the outside. No, I actually like it better right there. I think it looks pretty damn cool. Or maybe we can switch sides. Put it there and put one there. That would look pretty tough. Go all the way up to the rack. But I think that'd look pretty tough too. It might just get done that way, I don't know. We'll see. But I got the headlights yet to put in it. I gotta hook these lights up to high beam and get a solenoid on it. Do the seat. I'm gonna try to go to the dollar store and see if I can get some of that memory foam that you put on your bed and see if it'll work for refoaming this and fix that. I'm not going to use spray foam because spray foam gets hard and you'll have hard spots right here wherever you have the spray foam, so we're not going to do that. We'll do it right. We'll put new foam on it, I hope. Anyway, I'm hoping somebody has some information as to what's going on before I start tearing into this thing. Now, before I get started, I'll tell you a little history. I had this motor right here. That's the one that the bike came with. And when he started this thing up for me when I first got it, it did have the neutral safety switch light on when it was in neutral. So when I switched and used this motor, because I basically wanted to make sure that this motor was good, and I really didn't know the history on this motor. So I'm thinking that maybe we're finding out why it's got a bad history, and why it's set where it was setting when I got it. When I got this, it was set. It was a 4-wheel drive, and that was the very first Big Bear that I ever got, and that was before a buddy of mine, or one of my YouTube friends in Pennsylvania, told me, "Hey, you come and get this one. I got one for you," and he gave me mine, and I've restored it. But anyway, enough about that. So the whole time I'm working on this thing, you know, when I turned the switch on, I had power. Well, I went and bought a brand new switch for it and found out that they had not cut the plugs out of it. They had just added a plug to it from an old switch and then wired it, the wrong switch to that switch, or that wiring, so they could plug it into the harness. Thank God, because I can't find them plugs. So I went ahead and hooked this new switch up to it, and as soon as I hooked it up, I went to start it. It, you know, crank, 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 and then just stopped, and the oil light was on. So I couldn't figure out what was going on, why it was doing that. So I thought maybe the solenoid was bad. I switched solenoids. That didn't work. So then I went down and put it in reverse, and it started right up. So it'll start in gear, but it won't start in neutral. So we've concluded that the neutral safety switch is probably bad. Well, that's not the big issue that I have going on. On a Big Bear, in order to get it to go into reverse, you have to turn this knob to get it in reverse. That's a safety reason, so that you don't jump from first right into reverse while you're driving by accident. So I noticed that I can put it in reverse without turning this knob. That tells me that something else is not working right. So I'm leaning towards everything being the neutral safety switch, and we know that the neutral safety switch works on that one, so I can rob the one out of that one. And if I break into this thing on the side, it's on the side that the clutches and everything's on it, and I'm a little nervous about taking them apart, but not as nervous as I am when it comes to splitting a motor. That's a different ball game when you're splitting a motor. But the two things that I'm having a problem with is I can get it to start in gear, but not in neutral. When I put it in neutral, the neutral safety light doesn't work. So we already know that the neutral safety switch is not working. So I don't understand why this is allowing it to go into gear. I should not be able to get it into gear without touching this. I should be able to turn this, and it is working because it's moving the lever, but that doesn't mean that there's not something broke inside of it. So, we have nothing. Now if I go down here and put it in gear, it'll start. So now we're started, but it's in reverse. Now I can pull it out of reverse. Now it's in neutral, but I don't have a neutral safety light. So running a little rough now. Plus it's cold now. So it's in neutral right now because I'm not holding the brake to keep it from going. So now if I shut it off, Turn it back on, it's in neutral. I get just the oil temperature light. So I'd like to get some information before I go tearing into this. What I'm viewing is, or imagining what's going to have to happen is, I have had the side panel off of that motor where the clutches are, and I was going to take the neutral safety switch out of that, which it's both the reverse and the neutral safety switch. So it's behind the clutches, and I didn't want to take the clutches out, so I just put it all back together. But it looks like I'm going to have to. So basically what I would have to do is I'm going to have to drain the oil, which is not a big deal. I can drain the oil because I need to put a new plug in it. I got a new drain plug for it, so that would take care of that too while I'm doing this. Then I'm going to have to take this switch out of the way, which is not a big deal. Then I got to take this lever off of the motor and the bracket. Then I got to take this bolt loose up here on this tube. And then I got to take all these off and pull this panel off. Well, behind here you have a clutch pack right here. Then your I guess this would be the centrifugal clutch part. I don't know the terminology for all of it. But once I get all this apart, what am I going to run into? Is there something broke on this lever? Because it is all the way forward. So it should be to where you cannot shift it into any gear whatsoever, or any reverse while this lever is forward. So that tells me something may be broke on the lever itself. So I don't know yet. I've never had this side off. I had the other side off when I first started, when I first got this, and put a new stator in and checked all the timing, chain, and stuff like that, and everything looked good. So before I take all this apart, I'd like to get some kind of information from other people as to what I could check. Now I've got another issue that's going on here, is this lever right here is loose as a goose. See that? I mean, the balls are about ready to slide out of their sockets, so I'm going to have to remake this and make a new one. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I've got the rod. But this is a turnbuckle rod, so one of them is left-handed threads and the other one is right-handed threads. So that way you can turn this to adjust that in and out. So I actually need another rod, and I can't find that without having to buy this, and the lever as one unit. Because they make these so they don't come off. They've welded the pin inside the ball to this piece here, and they did the same thing to this lever down here. So this needs to be fixed. So because that's just too loose. But the fact remains is I should not be able to get it in reverse without hitting that. And right as it stands now, I'm able to get it in reverse without even touching this. Well, that's a bad deal, because if you are in first gear and you want to shift it to neutral, you're going to accidentally go right into reverse, because it is very, very hard to hit neutral on this thing because of that linkage being so messed up. So I've got 2 or 3 different problems, I think, that's going on. But I want to make sure that some of my four-wheeler guys might have some information before I go tearing into this that could be a problem solver. So, but we know the solenoid's working, we know the starter's working, we know that it will start. We just got to figure out how to fix the starting in gear and being able to get it in reverse without turning that knob. I like that option because I don't want to go into reverse by accident, and that I can see that happening. So, you know, if I'm in first gear and I don't realize I'm in first gear and I think I'm in second gear and I go to shift into first, thinking that it's first, I'm actually going to go into reverse while I'm going forward, and that's going to start tearing up gears. So, I don't know, guys. I just don't understand why it started doing that, because when I first hooked that switch up, it was starting just fine. It cranked about 3 cranks, and then all of a sudden it stopped cranking and the oil light come on. So I don't know what's going on with that. So if anybody's got any ideas, please let me know. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe. You guys have a good one. Later.